all of you a very good evening. In our today's class, we will be discussing few applications of linear expansion or expansion coefficients. This is the first application. The first application is loss or gain of time in a pendulum clock. So pendulum clock means, of course, nowadays we are not using any pendulum clocks much. This is a digitalized, these are the digitalized days we base upon, or we use digital clocks, but previously pendulum clocks used to be there, and I am taking the application from that pendulum clock. Here in this pendulum clock, there is a bar or rod like thing. This is a rod like thing. This is a pendulum bar or pendulum rod, and this pendulum rod, as it oscillates, one to and fro motion of this pendulum rod makes is counted as 1 second. That was the calculation, and like that 60 oscillations make 1 minute. Basing on that mechanism, the clock used to run and we used to measure the time. This is basing upon the pendulum clock. Some time. So now, here this particular pendulum rod, if it is made up of some metal, this is made up of this is a metal rod having a expansion coefficient. It has some expansion coefficient. Means what? Alpha is the linear expansion coefficient of the rod. So that means here actually this pendulum rod oscillates, undergoes oscillation. One to and fro motion is taken as 1 second, and this is going to make 60 oscillations, 60 to and fro motions, that is counted as a 1 minute. So like that 60 minutes, if they complete the 1 hour, the clock will be showing you the time. So in this pendulum clock, if at all this rod is going to change its length when temperature is high or temperature is low, means I mean to say, at a very high temperature on a hot summer day, this rod length expands, let us assume. Then due to the expansion of this rod oscillating, how time will affect, that is one concept we have. Next one is, if on a very negative temperature, on a colder region, if this clock is running and there is a very much negative temperature or very low temperatures are maintained in that region or in that room or in that region, suppose, then this rod is going to contract. The rod is going to contract in the sense increase of length, expansion, decrease of length, contraction. If this rod is going to contract, what is going to happen? How does it affect the time? That is our discussion today. So first thing is, either the rod can expand at a higher temperature. This rod which is oscillating, which shows the clock, which measures the clock, this rod, if it is contracted, then how does it affect the clock? Or whether the issue is, two things can happen. On a very higher temperature region, if this clock is used, this bar length will increase, and as this expands, we have to sort out whether the clock will show time more than the actual or less than the actual. That's what we have to conclude, and a standard expression or relation we have to. So here first point is, the time period of the pendulum is known as 2 pi under root of L by G, time period of a pendulum, and the time period is proportional to length. So this is the key point. This time period of this particular pendulum clock, it depends upon the length of the rod, pendulum rod, and this is one thing. Second important point is, length of the rod, it depends upon the temperature. So how it depends? Delta L equals to L alpha delta T. The expansion of the rod, delta L is L alpha delta T. That means it depends upon the rise of temperature, and expansion coefficient alpha of this rod is a constant quantity as long as we don't change the rod. Yeah, Lahari, we just started with one of application. I didn't see you. Yeah. Lahari.
Yes, sir.
Are you following?
Yes, sir.
Or else do I need to repeat anything?
Yes, sir. Once can you repeat?
Yeah. So this application is application of linear expansion. Loss or gain of time. Means clock runs fast or it can run slow. A pendulum clock I am taking, and this pendulum clock means this is a rod and it oscillates. One to and fro motion as it makes, it is counted as 1 second, as you know. Like that 60 oscillations if it makes, this rod as it oscillates for 60 times, 1 minute will be spent. So basing upon that mechanism, this clock is adjusted such that for 60 oscillations, 60 seconds, that means 1 minute, the minute's hand will move by 1 unit. So like that the clock is adjusted, and but we are not going to measure the time and all. We are not going to study here what is the watch mechanism, all those things we are not studying. We are seeing the application of linear expansion over here. What application? This is a point where the rod is made up of some metal, and it is having an expansion coefficient alpha, and as the rod oscillates, the time period of the rod, the time period of oscillation of the rod depends upon the length. So T is equals to 2 pi root L by G, and time period is directly proportional to root L, and this length of the rod definitely as it expands or as it contracts, that is called as linear expansion, and this expansion is delta L equals to L alpha delta T. As the length increases, time period will increase. As the time period increases, what happens? As the time period decreases, what happens? Let us see. So suppose first case, let us take case 1. The temperature of the rod increases. The temperature of the rod increases, and therefore length of the rod increases. Means what? Expands. The rod expands. Linear expansion. Then what happens? That implies time period of the rod will increase. This is the key point. The time period will increase. Time period, if time period increases, what happens? As the time period of the rod increases, what is going to happen? The clock will show less time. This is in general. Technically the word used is loss of time. Why? More the length of the rod, as the length of the rod increases, the time taken to complete one oscillation will be more. So there will be, in general words we can call, it is showing wrong time, we can say, or it is slow. In general words we can say clock is running slow. This is a general statement, but technically in physics, in this point of view, what we say, there is a loss of time, and there will be a loss of time. Next, in case 2, as the temperature is abruptly reduced, or as the temperature is considerably reduced, what happens? L will decrease. This is what we call as contraction of the rod. Contraction means decreasing the length of the rod, and as the length of the rod decreases, as L will decrease, therefore time period will also decrease. time period decreases means what you know? The oscillating, the pendulum rod, oscillating rod, it is very short. And as it is very short, it will make quick oscillations, quicker oscillations. Means per 1 second it will take very less time to oscillate, to make one to and fro motion, quickly it will make one oscillation. So there is a gain of time, means gain of time is our technical word which we use in the questions. In general, for your understanding, what I can say, gain of time means clock is running fast. Now it is 4:30, but it is showing 4:45. Means the clock is showing more than the time is ahead of the actual. That's what we call as a, what do we call? It is a gain of time. And this is loss of time. Loss of time means clock is running slow. This is a general statement. In general, how we address what is going to happen. Like suppose it is 4:30, but actually it is showing 4:25. That is nothing but loss of time. And here in this pendulum clock, why does that loss of time, gain of time happens? Only one reason, that is because of the decrease in length of the rod and increase in length of the rod. But why this pendulum rod increases and decreases? Why the pendulum rod length increases and decreases? Because it is used in a hotter climate, or it is used at a higher temperature once, and this clock is used at a very low temperature once. So because of that reason, length of the rod, length of the oscillating pendulum rod, it either contracts or it expands. Two things happen. So this is the concept, and so this is the concept. And now, Lahari, is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So up to here, can you take it down, or will you have a screenshot?
Noted down, sir.
Okay. So next, regarding this application, let us calculate this loss of time, and this loss of time is there. This loss of time and gain of time. We'll just calculate an expression for loss of time and gain of time. And gain of time. For them, a formula or an expression let us have.
Done, sir.
Yep. Now, so loss or gain, for both of them same formula, loss or gain of time. Next, loss or gain of time. One more formula, half alpha into change in temperature, rise in temperature or fall in temperature, delta T, into 24 into 60 into 60. What is this, you know? 24 into 60 into 60. This is per second I wrote. Means per second how much is the loss. Or if you allow the clock to oscillate, oscillate for about 1 day, like that from morning to evening, or 12 hours or 24 hours if you allow, and if the continuously, if the temperature is same, means if the clock is running continuously and it is gaining time or it is losing time, whatever is happening, then you can measure for how much time you are measuring or you are observing the clock. Suppose I have observed for 1 day, I want to measure the loss or gain per 1 day, then it is 24 into 60 into 60. And for 1 week, similarly 7 you can multiply. Like that, for any number of days you can measure the loss or gain of time. And this is the expression for loss or gain of time. And alpha means what here? Alpha stands for what? Alpha means a linear expansion coefficient of the pendulum rod. Linear expansion coefficient of the pendulum rod. This is the expansion coefficient of the rod. Next, delta T is either the rise in temperature or it can also be the fall in temperature. Either rise in temperature or fall in temperature. And this one, delta T by T means the change in time period by original time period. The change in time period by original time period is nothing but the loss or gain of time per second, and this is per day. We will take up one question basing upon this. Have you noted this?
Yes, sir.
Yep. Question: a clock with a metal pendulum, a clock with a metal pendulum is 5 seconds fast. Is 5 seconds fast each day, and 10 seconds slow, and 10 seconds slow. 10 seconds slow each day. At 30 degrees Celsius, find the coefficient of linear expansion of the pendulum rod. find the coefficient of linear expansion of the metal pendulum rod. This is the question. So here, do we have a confusion like, how come at 30 degrees Celsius, how come this particular pendulum clock can gain, it can run 5 seconds fast and it can run 10 seconds slow? How is it possible? Only one temperature is given. At one temperature, how is it possible? Think about it. So it is like this. Let the temperature be T naught at which the pendulum rod oscillates correctly and it gives you the correct time at that particular temperature. And this temperature is the reference temperature, standard temperature at which that particular rod oscillates correctly, and it is the standard length of the rod. And suppose at 15 degrees and at 30 degrees Celsius, here when it is having a temperature difference of 30 degrees Celsius, means this is the interval between which it can run fast and it can run slow. So suppose from T naught it reduces by 15 degrees Celsius and it increases, the temperature rises by 15 degrees Celsius. Two possibilities are there. So the time duration is 30 degrees Celsius, the temperature duration is 30 degrees Celsius interval, or there is a temperature width of 30 degrees Celsius. That is from actual temperature to when the temperature is lowered to from T naught to 15 degrees Celsius, temperature is reduced and the rod length contracts. As the rod length contracts, what is going to happen? It will run fast, and from T naught degrees Celsius, as the temperature is raised to 30 degrees Celsius, then as the temperature rises, rod length increases. As the length of the rod increases, time period increases, and it will be slow. So here it will be fast. The time shown will be fast, and the time shown will be slow. So two possibilities are there. This is the idea of the question. Now let us calculate. So here at 15 degrees Celsius, rod will contract, and at 30 degrees Celsius, rod will expand. Means what? Length expansion. Contraction means decrease in length. Expansion means increase in length. Now first we will apply the formula. What is the formula? Either it is a loss or gain. The formula is per second half into alpha into delta T, temperature change, loss or gain. So it is said that 5 seconds it is fast. So that means 5 seconds loss or gain is 5 seconds. So it is equal to half into alpha into temperature change is T naught minus 15 into 24 into 60 into 60. Means it will be around 86400. Why 86400 means if you multiply you will get it. Means per day I am calculating, not per second formula I know. With that per day I am calculating the loss or gain. So the loss or gain it is given for you. This is the first equation. Next, second one is 10 seconds. 10 seconds and 5 seconds. Two values are there. So 10 equals to half into alpha into 30 minus T naught into same into 24 into 60 into 60. This is the second equation. Means what here? This is 30 minus T naught. Temperature change is 30 minus T naught for one case, and temperature change is T naught minus 15 for the other case. Which case? When the clock runs fast, 5 seconds fast, the temperature change is T naught minus 15. When it runs slow, 10 seconds slow each day, the temperature change is 30 minus T naught. So if you simplify these two, you can calculate the alpha value. You can calculate basing upon these two equations. You can simplify and calculate the alpha value. So can you calculate the alpha value? So far this simplification up to here, is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. So if you divide these two equations, you will get the correct temperature. This will give you, this is called as a calibration temperature. This will give you a correct value, correct temperature at which clock runs correctly, neither loss of time nor gain of time. So we'll get the T naught value, you can find out. Calibration temperature T naught you can find out by dividing these two equations. And alpha gets cancelled, and after getting the correct temperature T naught, you can substitute in any one equation so that you can calculate the alpha value also. So first you can calculate this T naught value. Any answers for T naught?
Sir. 25 degrees, sir.
25, sure? Just check once. Check the calculation. You check once and tell me. So is it the correct answer or not? Just check the calculation once and tell me.
degrees, sir.
Good. Okay. Correct answer. So T naught, this is the 20 degrees Celsius, which is considered as the correct temperature at which rod neither expands nor contracts, and it oscillates and gives you the correct time. There is no loss of time, no gain of time. And we have considered this is called as the calibration temperature. And from this we need to calculate alpha. Our actual question is, say we have to find out the linear expansion coefficient of the rod, we have to find out. Alpha we are supposed to calculate. So how to get alpha now? This 20, you can use this value and you can calculate alpha. In any one of the equation you can use, and you can calculate the alpha value. And this one, this 24 into 60 into 60, this value you will have 86400. 24 into 60 into 60. So after calculation, you will get alpha as a 2.31 into 10 power minus 5 per degree Celsius. I am just taking any one equation. This first one I am taking, first equation, and alpha we can calculate by substituting T naught value. T naught is 20. So alpha you will get it as, after calculation, 2.31 into 10 power minus 5 per degree Celsius. Okay, na?
Yes, sir.
We will proceed to the next application. I have given one question basing upon one application, that is loss or gain of time. One more application of linear expansion or expansion coefficient, let us see. The next application is thermal stress. So first, to discuss this thermal stress, we shall discuss about few requirements, few basic conceptual requirements. First one, Young's modulus. Young's modulus Y is defined as longitudinal stress divided by longitudinal strain, longitudinal stress divided by longitudinal strain. This means suppose you have a wire or a rod, something, a thin rod you take, and this is the force applied here. Means I am considering one wire or rod, and it is, the force is exerted normally to the surface. Two forces, this is a tensile stress, longitudinal stress, and this particular force is tensile in nature. It tries to elongate the length, and this is definitely the force applied divided by this area. Which area? This area. Means suppose this is the rod, then this area is there, no? This area is A, so that force applied on this cross section by area, this will give you stress. Stress is a force by area, and now this is a tensile stress. Longitudinal stress are of two types. One is tensile stress and the other one is compressive stress. Compressive stress means you take the rod and exert a force like this, exert a force like this. You keep on exerting a force like this on the rod. So what am I trying to do? I am trying to compress the rod. It's that kind of force which you act on the two ends of the rod. That kind of force produces a compressive stress, and this is tensile. We are using a tensile stress now. Tensile means it tries to these group of couple of forces tries to elongate the length of the wire or elongate the length of the rod. Try to elongate the length. Whether they are successful in elongating or not is a secondary issue, but they are exerted. These forces are exerted on the two ends of the rods in order to expand, in order to increase the length. So this is the stress is force divided by this area. Force acting on this end divided by this shaded area A, force by area. This is stress. And longitudinal, this is the longitudinal stress. Means linearly it is acting. Longitudinal means along the length of the rod. So longitudinal stress. Next, longitudinal strain. So strain means change in length, how much in the rod divided by original length of the rod. Change in length by original length, this is called as strain. So this, if you divide these two, you will get the Young's modulus. So Young's modulus is longitudinal stress, that is force by area, by longitudinal strain, that is delta L by L. We can write it as FL by A into delta L. Delta L is the elongation, A area of cross section. This is the Young's modulus. Now, say, coming to the thermal stress. Thermal stress, which is force by area, thermal force, force by area, and this, from this expression, F by A, we can write it as Y delta L by L. From this, F by A I am keeping here, I am shifting this delta L left hand side by L left hand side. So I will get this Y delta L by L. So this is the force by area. But I will tell you, I will explain you why are we calculating all these things. Exactly what is going to happen here. So exactly here, I keep a rod, and this is a wall, this is one more wall. This rod is kept exactly between two ends of the walls, and it exactly fits into the gap of the two rigid supports, two rigid walls. Exactly it will fit. This length of the rod is equal to gap between two walls. This is initial. Now what I am doing, this rod has length L, Young's modulus Y, expansion coefficient alpha. This rod is having an expansion coefficient alpha. Now if I am increasing the temperature, if I am raising the temperature by providing heat energy, we are providing some heat energy, there is a temperature rise across the length of the rod. There is a temperature rise, and rod as it receives the heat energy, it tries to expand. It tries to expand, but walls doesn't allow the rod to expand. They strictly reject, or they strictly oppose the expansion. As a result, there is a stress on the rod. As a result of this, there is a stress on the rod. I repeat once again, a rod is fixed between two walls, and we provide heat energy, and temperature of the rod increases, and as a result of it, the rod tries to expand, but walls doesn't allow. These two supports, rigid walls, they don't allow the rod to expand. As a result, on the rod, there is a force exerted by the wall on the rod. You imagine, when the rod tries to expand, wall opposes. So there is a stress as a result, and that stress is nothing but thermal stress, and the expression for thermal stress is thermal thermal stress equal to Y delta L by L. Y into delta L is L alpha delta T. This is by expansion. From the concept of linear expansion, delta L is L alpha delta T by L. So it is Y alpha delta T. This is the thermal stress, Young's modulus of the material, alpha, linear expansion coefficient, delta T, rise in temperature. So this is the thermal stress acting on the rod. Is it visible up to here, this part, this calculation and all?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And in this concept, any clarification required from your side? Okay. We will take up one question basing upon this application. Okay. Find the pressure, find the pressure to be applied. Find the pressure to be applied at the two ends, of a steel wire. To keep its length, constant, when the temperature is raised, by 100 degrees Celsius. When the temperature is raised by 100 degrees Celsius. Given Young's modulus of the wire is 2 into 10 to the power 11 Newton per meter square. This is the Young's modulus. Next, coefficient of linear expansion of the wire, alpha wire, is 1.1 into 10 to the power 1.1 into 10 power minus 5 Kelvin inverse. So this is the question. So here, suppose we have a wire, it is made up of steel. Now, it has got some length. So, at the two ends, we have to apply some pressure. Pressure is, as you know, pressure is force by area. Yes or no? Pressure is force applied on an area. Pressure is force applied on this cross section divided by area of this cross section. Means the ends, the two ends of the rods. This is the end at which the force is exerted. And now we are providing some heat energy. So some heat energy, and there is a rise in temperature. Delta T is the rise in temperature. Delta Q is the amount of heat energy. And obviously, when sufficient amount of heat energy is received by the rod and there is a adequate amount of rise in temperature, definitely there will be the increase in length of the rod. But what is our question? Though there can be an increase in length of the rod, there should be some pressure applied, or some pressure has to be exerted on the two ends so that the expansion can be prevented, the expansion can be stopped. So that much pressure, that much force by area has to be applied. So the question is, across the two ends of the steel wire, to keep its length constant, how much pressure you have to apply? So how much pressure we have to apply means that is exactly equals to the thermal stress. The pressure to be applied in this direction to prevent expansion, the pressure required is force by area, which is nothing but which is called as a thermal stress. So how to calculate that? So therefore, this pressure equals to force by area, which is equals to thermal stress. What is the thermal stress? See here. What is the thermal stress? Which is force by area, this is pressure, which is Finally, this is the expression y alpha delta t. This is the thermal stress or pressure to be applied across the two ends of the rods so as to prevent the rod from expansion. Preventing means we should not allow the rod to expand. So this relation we can use y alpha delta t, let us use. So force by area is y into alpha into delta t. So that means 2 into 10 power 11 into alpha 1.1 into 10 power minus 5 into temperature rise 100 degrees Celsius. So you can calculate this pressure to be applied or thermal stress. You can substitute the values, you can find out the pressure to be applied. This is minus 5, 11, 10 power 11 minus 5, this is 1.1, this is 100, 2. You can simplify, you can give the answer. Any answers? So the answer is, got it? So it is, the answer is 2.2 into 10 to the power 8 Pascal or Newton per meter square, whatever. Is it okay? Pressure 2.2 into 10 power 8 Pascal. Completed?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So any doubt?
No, sir.
Okay. Next question. Next question. A second's pendulum clock, a second's pendulum a seconds pendulum clock is having a steel wire and is calibrated at 20 degrees Celsius and is calibrated at 20 degrees Celsius. Next, when the temperature is raised, when the temperature is raised, when the temperature is increased, when the temperature is increased to 30 degrees Celsius, when the temperature is increased to 30 degrees Celsius, then how much time does the clock gain or lose? How much time does the clock gain or lose? How much time does the clock gain or lose? How much time does the clock gain or lose in 1 week? In 1 week. So how to calculate the loss or gain of time? What is the relation? So, loss or gain of time equals to half into alpha into temperature change. this is obtained per second. So you can calculate the loss or gain of time per second. And the given information is alpha of this wire, alpha of the steel wire is 1.2 into 10 power minus 5 per degree Celsius. The alpha of this wire is 1.2 into 10 power minus 5 per degree Celsius. So you can calculate the loss or gain of time. Shall I calculate, or do you want to try it? So half into alpha. Alpha means 1.2 into 10 power minus 5 into delta T. The temperature is increased, to 30 degrees Celsius. So 30 minus 10, the temperature difference is it is 10 degrees Celsius. 30 minus 20 is 10 degrees Celsius. So this is the loss or gain, but we have to tell whether it is loss or gain. Why? Because the whatever is the final answer, it will be there in the options for 2 times. One, the same answer mentioning loss of time, the same answer mentioning gain of time. 2 options will be there. We have to know whether it is loss or gain. If we calculate, that is not sufficient. So here the temperature is increased. Then pendulum clock, that pendulum rod length increases as the temperature is raised. As the length increases, what happens? It oscillates slowly. Its length increases, its time period increases. Time period increases means time taken to complete one oscillation increases. Means it takes more time to complete one oscillation. That means it runs slow, clock runs slow, there is a loss of time. So the loss of time is calculated here, half into alpha into delta T. So it is so we need to calculate per 1 week, this is per second. 6 into 10 power minus 6 into so loss equals to 6 into 10 power minus 6 into per day 86400. This is 24 into 60 into 60 into we need loss or gain of time per 1 week, so 7 into 7. So you can get the answer. If we simplify, the loss will be obtained. So this is the answer. Just go through it, and if you need any clarity, you can ask. This is the final calculation. At any step, any clarification needed, you can ask right now. Okay. Okay. So we'll conclude our today's session here. We'll meet again. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.